Welcome to the She Will Shine podcast, where we bring you the real stories of female business owners. My name is Danielle Price and I'm the founder of She Will Shine, a supportive business network for women. It's time to give a voice to women in business and discover their journey.
Hi everyone, welcome to our very first isolation recording of the She Will Shine podcast with the lovely Anna Pino. How are you, Anna?
I'm so well. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you for getting me back onto the podcast, which I'm really excited about. So unfortunately, you can't be on the couch there with me, sitting back there, but you are on your couch. So that
I am on my couch. I'm very relaxed. I'm ready.
You're ready. So Anna is a Chinese medicine doctor at Natural Harmony Traditional Chinese Medicine. Have I got that all right? It's a long business name, Anna.
It's a mouthful.
And you're also a doula as well.
Yes, I'm also a doula. Yeah.
Anna, for quite a few years now, and every time I talk to you, Anna, you have a way of putting people at ease very naturally, and I think it's just a beautiful character trait of you personally.
Thank you. No, it's a huge compliment because I'm not always like that. Just saying.
I'll ask your husband.
Yeah, you can. I think it comes with the territory. I think it comes with work and, having a bedside manner and making people feel at ease every day, day in, day out. So I think it sort of just comes out. But perhaps it's there already. I'm not sure. I did a lot of hospitality before I came into wellness and Chinese medicine. So I think maybe that came from that as well. And of course, we have to look at our upbringing and what gets passed on along the way.
Yeah. So speaking of upbringing, so you weren't born in Australia?
No, so I was born in Ukraine and came to Australia in 1997. It's coming up actually our anniversary. Gosh, I've stopped counting how many years that is. But the day that we arrived, Princess Di passed away. So
oh my gosh.
I always remember that day. Yeah.
That's quite an easy day to remember. Then you get a memory of that every year. Far out.
Yeah, definitely. So I was 11 and I arrived to Australia the first time I've ever been out of my town, out of my village. And I arrived in Melbourne. I remember it was a great day. And it was sort of I didn't know what to expect as a kid, but I saw pictures and postcards. And
were you excited?
Yeah, I was very excited. I was very excited about the plane and anything. And because it was so different. But we did come, I think as a kid, that's my perception. I was excited about all the little things. But we did come to Australia so my mum could support her aunt, and she was unwell. She was diagnosed with bowel and liver cancer, and my mum was here to support her. Basically, that was the main mission. And unfortunately 20 days after our arrival, her aunt passed away. So we we had a travel visa at the time, and my mum had this big decision to make. What next? So with little support or known to us at the time, she had to make the decision of her life to leave her home country and to stay in a new country and make a new start. We're really lucky though, because we had some really distant family, and her auntie had a tribe of women. So they took us under their wing and off we went. So I remember staying at different people's homes, and even though we had a home with our uncle, but I remember as a kid sort of being part of different families at the time. Yeah.
That's beautiful though, isn't it? So, distant relatives, but all coming together to help when it's needed, and all women, like that makes me happy. Seeing strong women helping each other.
I guess that's one thread that was always consistent in my life. My parents split when I was 10, but it was sort of shaky from a very young age, and I had women, supporting me and bringing me up. So I can definitely say that I have strong women in the background.
Yeah, love the sound of that. So at what age, Anna, did you think, you wanted to go down a path of helping other people, in particular women?
Yeah, right. It's interesting because even when I think back to when I was little, back in Ukraine in my village, I had moments of trying to help my friends, or like picking up plants from the ground and making little compresses. I don't know. I wasn't even 10. Like I was 8 or 7 years old, and I think there was something in me, something curious about that world. And I can say my mum was that way inclined. She was into natural medicine. She wasn't in that field. She worked with kids for a long time as a kinder teacher. But I think, gosh, when I really realized that I wanted to work with women, that was my path. I think when I did my doula studies, and it's interesting it didn't come earlier because I had some sort of challenges with health as I was studying Chinese medicine, and Chinese medicine really helped me through each step of the way, like be it anxiety or breast lumps or other issues with my blood. Chinese medicine was behind me, but I think I didn't really grasp what the impact of all of that I could give to other women until I sat in a circle of other women who were from different walks of life, different experiences, levels of experience, women who supported other women in their own way, and they started telling stories, and I sort of started connecting the threads of my own upbringing and my own environment that I grew up in. And I was like, oh my God, we're connected. And, one of the conversations we had in that circle, the doula circle that we set in, every week we would come in and learn. The question that was asked was, what is your gift? And I remember doing a meditation about it. What is your gift to give to others? And you sort of, when you're asked that question, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever thought about it, Danielle, I'm sure.
I was sitting here thinking, what would I say?
Yeah. And we sort of had to meditate on this gift, right? But the interesting thing was that I already had it. Like I had everything that I needed to help others. And so I sat there breaking my head. I was like forcing this gift, like, what is it? like a jigsaw puzzle or something. And
with that one piece that you just can't find.
Yeah, but it's right in front of you, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be so complicated. And I remember the visual that I got, because I'm a little bit visual when it comes to planning or anything. So the visual that I got was a forest, and there was a path, and I was sort of on this path through the forest. So it was quite nature based, but I didn't get anything specific. So I was a bit frustrated with myself, Danielle, because I really wanted to know the answers. I wanted to, a clear path to follow, but I was on it already and I needed to trust. So I think that's probably when I started exploring that connection with women and how I could help women, and my own journey as a woman, exploring motherhood even before that came my way, and what that all looks like for me, planting those seeds for myself, I suppose. Yeah. So I think
awesome.
That first year of practice, I really explored all of that, and that really clarified it for me. Whether I don't think I would have ended up in a different path, to be honest. But I think it just gave me clarity and reassurance and trust in myself more than anything.
You're already on the right path.
Yeah, definitely.
So how many years ago is it now that you started your practice?
So I started in 2010. In 2009, I finished my studies and traveled around Asia and Europe with Aaron, my husband now. And yeah, 2010 I started. So 2020, it's 10 years. At the end of this year will be 11.
So you started your practice from the very beginning, like you took out the space. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I remember traveling, and I thought, before I went to China to do my internship, I worked a few jobs on the side. I still did my hospitality. I worked in a health shop, and I worked in a pharmacy night times. And next door, the owner of the pharmacy, his son was a naturopath, and he had a premises next door, and we sort of planted some seeds. So I knew I had a room if I wanted it. So when I was traveling, I was deciding whether to go off on my own, take a room and pretty much navigate my own way, or maybe enter an existing practice and have some support in place. And I ended up just going with it, Danielle. I took the room. I remember feeling really excited. I had my portable massage table, and that was my world. And I was excited to make it my own and put my own touch to it. I was very lucky. I had referrals, passed on to me through the naturopath there, and yeah, it was a really good experience, and I learnt so much. I was actually reflecting on that time. I was clearing out some papers, and I found some notes. And I reckon I challenged a few people there at the time. But now that I'm in my own space with my own team, I was like, oh my God, what was I trying to do? I was making it so complicated.
Yeah. But don't we always, I think that's the thing as women, we think things need to be more complicated than what they really are. We put so much pressure on ourselves as well that, okay, we've got to tick all these boxes and make sure this is okay. And we just need to simplify.
Definitely. I had notes from meetings, and the meeting was meant to be for 15 minutes, and I had like pages of notes. I'm like, oh my God, I would have just
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
The growth was good. So that was my beginning, and I had a little room to myself with a naturopath, and there was an osteopath there. I learned a lot from her actually, and I was then starting to understand the idea of networking, what networking was. So I remember sort of getting to know the people within that practice, and then starting to head out and meet people outside in different practices, little subgroups of people in the community. And I realized that it was important to come out of my own place of safety, comfort zone, and start talking to people in the community about who I was and what I did. And I had to be comfortable with that. So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, because you do that a lot even now still. You're quite heavily involved in a few networking groups, and
definitely
about putting yourself out there.
Definitely. And I think what it does for me, it brings out this confidence. And I can't say, I think I have it in me. I have it instilled in me. My mum was a kindergarten teacher, so I was always at the front. She pushed me. She encouraged me to do the performances. I had to do the hosting, and I was sort of front of house like that when I was growing up. And I remember knowing that I could do it, whether I wanted to at the time or not, but she built that muscle for me. And I think as a new business owner, I realized that I needed to be confident in what I'm talking about, because that confidence actually translated to my clients, to my patients. And if I could reassure them that I had them and I had a plan for them, and I knew what I was talking about as well, then that result would translate into their outcomes, and give them really good outcomes as well. And I think, yeah, I think that that connection with other professionals, I really love it for that. And I'm not always or confident. I'm not always like just waking up, springing out of bed. So being in that routine, having constant connection with people, it's a reminder. It's like a little wake me up. And that human connection, more than ever, it's so important right now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Whether we're doing it virtually or with our family, those conversations are really, really important and vital. So yeah, I think I'll forever be doing something, Danielle.
Yes. I can't imagine you ever sitting still, Anna.
I do like sitting still though.
I think the only place I'd sit still is when I come and visit you in your clinic.
It's really lovely, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's good to have. It's good to have that. It's good to have that reminder. A couple of weeks ago, I was unwell, and it was probably my every 2 years I get this whatever chesty thing, and I think we spoke about it briefly, and it was a good reminder to slow down. The world is not going to crash if we stop for a couple of days, and but I think there's some sort of rhythm. I think I'm not there perfectly, but I think what I feel is when I'm in this rhythm of looking after myself, listening to myself, um, stopping to review what's in front of me quite regularly, even just sitting or going for a walk with nothing in my head, nothing, no headphones, nothing. I think it gives clarity to communicate better, to put out an intention to create something fresh and new. Maybe there's a better way of doing something. It gives us a little bit of clarity. So yeah, I think it's definitely needed. Can't always be on the run.
No, that's right. And I think, especially with what's happening in the world with us all at home at the minute, while some of us are run off our feet more than ever before, especially with home learning, there is that opportunity, I think, for that clarity, because you can distance yourself somewhat from the rush, and you can sort of take a minute and go, hang on a second, what needs to be done here, and how can I do it in a way that will be kinder to myself?
Definitely. I absolutely agree with that. And I think there is a silver lining to all of this. Yes. So, we can start to create the environment that we want for ourselves. What do we want? What sort of environment do we want to be in? How do we want to wake up in the morning? Like, we have a little bit of freedom, I suppose, to experiment.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of environment, Anna, so you now have a team working with you and working for you at the clinic. How do you kind of foster that environment where it is cultivated from that place?
There's a lot of communication. Definitely. So that's one thing that we do well. That's something that I consciously decided to do, a year ago now. And I said to myself, if I do one thing well, that has to be it, because I think communication is key to all success. Like,
that's right.
Whether it's your relationship, whether it's your family or study or work environment, there has to be two-way communication. So it's that I think that's one thing that we've done really, really well. And then I guess the other thing is that we're all in this together. Like, we've got to step up and bring our A game, because if we don't, then, well, it's not going to work out. That's pretty much how we look at it. So we want to be able to support our community that we've built to the best of our ability, and be there for them at this time more than ever. So I think that's something that is our intention going forward. So I think we're on the same page with that.
Working with that common goal.
Exactly.
For everybody.
Exactly.
And how do you think it's changed? So you're 10, 11 years into your business now. Around 5 years ago, your first child was born. How did things kind of change when that happened?
So much. When we first came to Essendon, well, before that, actually, I wasn't always in my little room. I sort of, I worked with private midwives for a little bit, but in that sort of contractor setting. And then my dream was to have my own practice, my own space. So when we moved to Essendon, I remember it was so surreal. I had one new grad with me who was also a contractor at the time. And then in the first 2 months, the team sort of exploded. We had all these allied health initiatives. And I remember I see myself like teaching and like training different allied health in the minuscule things regarding how to run their business or how to be within my business. And everyone was really open. But it was taking a lot. It was taking a lot of effort. And I think the challenge was everyone was going in different directions. I didn't see it. Everyone was pulling in their own direction, but they just wanted to be in one place. And that was something that I didn't see, like it wasn't clear to me. I was pushing in my own direction and I wanted everyone to be on board. And I thought everyone was on board until slowly things started. There was like friction points, and not until I fell pregnant and became a mom, I really had to reevaluate. And I started to understand that some people are just not on the same page. We are either not aligned with core values. Not that it was a bad thing or a wrong thing, it's just we're not aligned. How can we possibly work together?
And we're not, people are not all the same.
Not all the same. And I think I started to realize what my personal or professional points of frustrations were, where my boundaries were, how I thought I would do this dream was not working. And I was building my own little empire over here at home. So it started to become more of a priority, and I thought, I can't do this. I can't be everything for everyone. And
did that take a long time to realize? Like, were you hard on yourself about that?
Yeah, I was frustrated with myself. I was hard on myself because I wanted to be in a place in my mind and I wasn't there yet. And I think I was really forcing the issue, and I was maybe my own problem, if that makes sense. Like my mindset was, this has to work or nothing.
And has to work this way.
Yeah, it has to work this way, or that's it, I quit. And in my mind, that was big fail, and that could not happen. So
Stubborn as well, Anna.
I am a Capricorn, so
that's a European trait that I've got there as well.
But with that came lots of lessons, and I'll be forever grateful, like, for every single lesson that came with that. So yeah, like, I think realizing that towards the end, so my second child came along, Laura came along, and I started to think to myself, is this actually worth it? Is it actually worth it? And I was so close. I was going to pull out. I was going to shut the doors even. Like, I didn't even know if I was in a position to sell. So I was happy to just close the doors. I was really sitting with it for quite some time, a few months. And then
how many years would that have been? Was it about 7-year mark, 8-year mark?
Yeah, definitely. And then I had a surprise phone call, Danielle, from one of my past clients, and she's now a mindset coach. So she just randomly called me. How are you? I had a dream about you, she said. Anyway, we ended up catching up, and she gave me a bit of a shake me up. She said, Anna, don't do anything. Don't you dare close the doors. You have got to come out of this mindset. And so she gave me a good lesson, and I stuck with her for quite some time. I think, having strong women behind you can help sometimes, probably most of the time.
Agreed.
Yeah. And she's a mom, she was doing it. She was on her A game, and I related to her. Something spoke to me there, and she was able to bring me out of that crappy mindset and into that potential that I saw in myself as a kid. That magical world that I dreamt about, exploring the little herbs and stuff. And, she gave me a bit of a wake me up. And I'm like, I'll always be grateful. But the rest sort of unfolded. Like, I realized it wasn't working, so I had to do it a different way. And the scary part for me was employment, because I had some fears around money, and that there'll never be enough, because probably, we always sort of struggled growing up, and things weren't always straightforward with that. We had to rely on others. We relied on our family in Australia for support, and we probably had it better off than others because it was there. But if it wasn't, it was tough. And so maybe that mindset stuck around for a long time, and so it really challenged me. And so when I finally went into the employment structure, it's like I could take a breath again. Like, I felt like I was in control of my dream, how I envisioned it. And I remember calling the osteopath who was in the original room with me in the original practice that I started in. And I said, Alison, I don't know what to do. Do I sell or do I employ? Because that was the road, crossroads. And she said, if you employ, it doesn't mean that your troubles are going to go away, but they're going to be different. It's going to be different. So at the end of the day, it had to be my own decision. And so I could breathe, because I felt like I was empowered and I had control back, not in a negative way, but in the way that I could navigate it the way I wanted to. And I think there's this beautiful authenticity that comes with that. And I think, I felt like I attracted a whole different type of person to myself. And I still learnt through that. I had training wheels on, but and I'm still learning now. Gosh, every day I'm learning. But I feel like I have more clarity and more evidence that I can do this, whatever it is. I can help more people, and I can bring my message out in this authentic way, and I don't have to compromise my family life to do that.
You've worked it in a way that you've set your boundaries around what you can do with your children and what you can do with your business. And now you're working towards the common goal, as we were saying before, for the whole team.
Yeah, definitely. So it feels good. Like I feel like I'm in a good place, still learning, still growing forever. But I'm so grateful for that journey. So grateful.
Yeah. What do you think personally, so sort of aside from the business, what do you think were the hardest things for you, not as a woman, just as a person, I wouldn't say as a woman, as a person kind of growing up and navigating into this particular industry, and, then 1 year into doing it, becoming a doula? Like, what do you think were the biggest challenges along that path?
I think if I really sort of peel all the layers off, undress, I think one of my biggest personal challenges have been caring what people think. Whether it's my mum, whether it's my neighbor, whether it's my husband, whether it's my children, whether it's my, colleagues. For a long time, probably since a young age, I just cared way too much what people thought. And so that probably created some unresourceful behaviors for myself personally, my own health, but then also for others, because there's this resistance and friction when it doesn't really need to be there. Trying to prove something, but it's already within us. So if only we can just relax into that, no one can take something precious away from us, our dreams, our ideas, because it's already ours. Like, how can someone, extract that from us? And I think trusting my own abilities without others' opinions, if that makes sense. So
it does, absolutely.
I probably stopped too many times along the way to check in with others whether they approve. Or even if I didn't stop to check in, I would create situations to test people in my life to see if they approve. That wasn't necessarily the best way to go about it. Because what I found that they're still there.
That's right.
I'm still supported, and I'm still loved, and I'm not alone. And even though it feels like that sometimes, it's not. It's like this weird facade that we create in our head. So definitely those are the challenging things.
And now that you've got two beautiful children who are growing into strong, independent women like their mother and grandmother, how is life with these beautiful girls?
Oh gosh, they're growing too fast. Emma is going to school next year, and my goal is to be in a place where I have a little bit more freedom and flexibility, and perhaps slightly different role within my business. And so I could be there with her, enjoying that time together. And Laura, she's 2.5 and she's full on speaking like a little lady, pulling sentences together. And, you know, I'm just so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. And honestly, I could not do it on my own. When COVID hit right on the borderline of the first wave, I realized I needed extra help. And this was another fear of mine, asking for help. Okay. So I knew what I had to do, but I was resisting it for at least 2 years. I knew I could have done it earlier, but I reached out and I got a nanny in place. So 3 days a week, they have a nanny, and, you know, we're obviously on the same page with wellness and stuff, but 2 other days they are with their grandparents. And I then put in place a cleaner.
I love the sound of that one.
Because I needed decluttered brain and clarity. So I really, you know, I can't say anyone could do that, you know, just go and do that. But I had to, it was an investment. I knew I needed to be there for my business, but I knew I needed to be sane for my family.
Yeah.
So I had to put this in place. And the biggest fear was that, you know, my women that would have judgment on me for doing that. So I had to let that go. I had to be okay with that. And I probably could have done that and maybe have been in a different place, slightly different place now, way earlier. But I have to congratulate myself for doing that anyway.
You've done it now. That's all that matters. Better late than never, as they say.
Yeah. So they're thriving. They're so clever. They are, you know, they're asking about their friends and they're asking when they can do certain activities and things. But it's like they get it. It's really strange how they're really adaptable and they understand and they sort of take our lead and they're okay. They're all right. Their imagination is thriving still, and yeah, they're happy. They're happy little chickens.
Do you feel like 11 years in business, 2 beautiful children, are you proud of what you have done in that time? With, I won't say children are challenges, but children are definitely something that make a big impact on a business. And you've still managed to grow the business in a direction that you want it to be and put in place the what you needed for how you foresee your future with the girls at school and the flexibility and the boundaries that you need to put in place?
100%. Like, I'm so proud. And I say that with like a really warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart because, you know, as a kid, if you ever had a dream of any sort, like even I just want a bike, like anything, like you just the joy that I see in my girls when they get what they want, like that, that perseverance and persistence. It can even be like ice cream. Like when they get it, they're just like, whoa.
It lights them all up.
Yeah, and like the persistence that they had to go through to get that ice cream. Like you finally get your bit of ice cream. Like, of course I'm proud. Like I'm so proud that, you know, despite whatever challenges, despite health issues, despite internal mindset turmoils, despite financial difficulties, despite pandemics.
That's very, very appropriate right now.
We can still like soldier on, and you know, maybe it's not soldier on for, maybe it's just finding flow and being real to ourselves and, you know, being determined to get to that bit of ice cream that we're so in love with. Like like if you've got it and you'll always be wondering what would it be like. Yeah, I'm 100% proud for going for it. And, you know, I command any woman who's doing the same, any person who's doing the same, because it's not always straightforward. You know, it can go curvy like that, but we've got to celebrate each other. We've got to, because it's worth it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what's life for.
Yeah, that's right. If you're not doing what you love, why do it at all?
Yeah.
Is there anything you would have changed?
Nah, not a thing.
No regrets. I love that.
I wouldn't change. Well, I wouldn't extract all the beautiful lessons from what I've gone through. Like, wouldn't meet the people that I've met. I wouldn't grow myself. I'd just stay in the same place. And gosh, how boring.
Yeah. Did you ever think you were going to be a business owner?
You know, a guy I was friends with in high school, he said, "You're going to be a business person." Just to be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I don't know, probably not in so many words. I remember when I was still in the village, I was trying to put a village gazette together, and I was like, really, you know, this is going to be your task, friend, and this is going to be your task. Like, I was a little bit like that.
Yeah.
I probably didn't know what that meant.
But a leader, a born leader.
Yeah. I think I couldn't work for anyone else. I beat to my own. What is it? I dance to the beat of my own drum.
My own drum. Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to us today. I have wanted to chat with you for a long time, and I'm so glad that even in a pandemic, we got to do it.
Thank you so much for your time and your opportunity to share a little bit of my story with other women, and hopefully someone listening will go, oh my gosh, yes, I will follow that dream inside. And thank you for everything that you do for us in the Shine community. Like, we love you. Mwah.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. And I'm sure I will chat to you again soon. I've got to hear part 2 of this story. What's next and what's to come.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Anna.
See you soon, Danielle. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. Stay tuned as we'll have another amazing woman in business on the couch very soon. See you later.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode of the She Will Shine podcast, we invite you to check out shewillshine.com.au. She Will Shine is the essential support network you need to grow a thriving, meaningful business. We can help you grow your network, connect and develop genuine relationships, be supported and support others in building and growing a successful business on your terms. Say goodbye to working alone and become a member at shewillshine.com.au.